Welcome once again to the Red Hot Mic, and I am your host, G. Alpha Palmer, and it's good to have you here one more time. I'm trying to look at my deck here, and let's see how we want to do this. Oh, it can be, that's for sure. So let's see what we can get here. Oh, we know what that is. That's something else. And let's see what I'm trying to get some music here. Let's try this. Yeah, let's try. Yeah. Welcome to the Red Hot Mic. I am your host, G. Alfred Palmer, and my co-host with me is back tonight. Yours truly, Mr. Haley Lamar. He's with me. He always holds my hat. He doesn't like giving it up sometimes, but I am the cat in the hat, and he's not. So it's good to be here with you one more time. It's interesting that we're going to pick up with a part two of what we talked about just the last time we were together. So I'm excited about that. At the same token, I'm excited for being. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. It's the Red Hot Mic, and I am your host, G. Alfred Palmer, and here's a toast to you the most. I thank you once again for coming in and sharing with me. As usual, we come together to elevate, and we come to activate. And that's what we do here at the Red Hot Mic. And I'm going to get rid of some of these lights so that you can see me, and then I'm not distracted, that I can see you. All right. I'm really excited about being here tonight with you to share part two of settling the issue of gender and sex. So, why am we talking about this particular issue? Well, as we talked about before, there's a lot going on in our community, culture, and clan. And so we wanted to be able to address some of these things that give us a more balanced perspective, or another perspective, maybe not so much perspective that you may want to consider. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. It's totally up to you. Um, but I'm glad to be with you. It really is an honor and a privilege to be with you one more time, because what it does is it allows here what I believe that I'm seeing on the horizon. I have a new camera that I want to share. Let's see how. This one. You know how you get used to something. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. Uh, the truth of the matter is. But we're here again. We want to talk about the issue, sex and gender, because we need to settle this issue, because it is something that is really uh, at the forefront on in any media outlet or any or social media. It's there, and so even myself, I address it because I think it is important. I know that it's important, it's critical, and so I do continue to um, delve in and to talk about it. Some people, but not for everyone. But anyway, as we get started, once again I want to ask you to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell. Also, what's important is that if you want to contact we're gonna have the break. And once we go to commercial break, we'll have the ticker underneath that's going to give you our email and our website. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always go to trmgap@gmail.com. That is trhnp@gmail.com. And so that's where we're going to be coming from. When we address some of those questions, we're going to address it. That's where we'll come from. We'll answer your questions or your comments or that venue. You can also, as I said, you're going to when we go to commercial break, you're going to be able to come get our email. I'll have it written down, tickering underneath, along with our website. As we always do, we start our broadcast in homage to the transitioned Kevin Samuels, who we borrowed the sharing of fragrances, and I'm starting to learn some things, and I just other people or guys, fellas, if you like me, I just pick out something that I like. Wasn't so much what the notes were. I didn't care about the notes, and so I'm learning more and more to pay attention to the top, middle, and the bottom. So I'm still learning. I think I am a lifelong learner. I don't know everything, but I may have an opinion and I have a view, but I don't tend to know everything. But I am not afraid to state my position on anything. And so I'm going on this new fragrance that we're going to share tonight, and it's Tommy Bahama. Tommy Bahama Maritime Triumph is the name of it. And this particular fragrance, as you know, I don't I, I don't really I don't try fragrances on until I get on the air because I want to be honest and forthright about what I smell. I don't want to smell something I don't like and then try to go do something else because I have so many. But I want to be honest about where that is being presented so that you will get an honest opinion from me relative to that particular fragrance. So I'm excited about this particular fragrance. At least trying it out. I don't know what it's going to be like, but it's Tommy. Let's rub it in. Rub it in. Let's see. Okay. It says here, Maritime Triumph, the new edition or new limited edition fragrance from Tommy Bahama is a is a fragrance. I like that word masculine. Harnessed by the warmth of the sun and the effervescence of the sea. A scent for the man who appreciates freedom and adventure, emblematic of personal victory. And what I smell is a a fruity smell because it does have ended mandarin. It does have a mandarin. I do smell a wood because it does has cactus scent. It is definitely a masculine scent. It has violet leaves, pimento beans, and it has cedar leaf. I like this fragrance. Tommy Bahama, Maritime Triumph. It's a soft. It's one of those kind of fragrances that people will have to be up close and personal. They have to be up close and personal in order for them to really get a whiff of it, which is cool because sometimes the fragrances, so we can appreciate that as well. All right, so let's get busy. Let's get busy. It's that time. You know what that means? It's that time that we go to our much and our much anticipated answer wheel, the answer wheel that gives us answers to troubling questions that we might be having in certain areas of our lives. You know, when I used to come on with a question and do it that way, but I found that to be too limiting. So I want you to be able to be free enough for the question that you have, which may not be the question that I pose to you. But I believe that the universe knows that question that you have. The universe knows the question that you have and wants to answer that particular question. Don't get it misconstrued. The universe always speaks and provides answers. The question is, are we willing to hear and trust in what we need to hear? Okay? Well, it's our time with the answer wheel, and on the answer wheel, as usual, we just allow you to think about that question that's been that perplexing problem that, that has been presented to you. So we want to give you the opportunity to have that question answered, that query answered, not by me, but by the answer wheel. Now, what we do with the answer wheel is this. I have to, oops, sorry about that. Oh, I meant to remove it. Okay, and so I'm going to in that one, and I'm going to look for our other camera and, and switch over to the camera that's going to present the answer wheel. And what we'll do with that is share that with you. And we're going to add it to and we're going to see if we can put it in a way that you can see both. How about that? Now, what we do once again with the answer wheel is we just allow it to move, and once we allow it to move, it's going to present some answers. The answers are no way, try again, ask a friend, yes, maybe, and definitely. Okay, those are the answers that you're going to get. Those are the six answers. You know, some people think okay, the for some reason the web went out, but we're back, and let's see if we can get things moving this time. Again, we're going to give the answer wheel a spin and allow it to give us the answer to the question that you may be now finding some trouble with. I gave it a big spin just tonight, so we'll give it a chance to slow down. Yes, absolutely. All right. All right, here we go. Here we go. We're getting down toward the end, and the answer coming from the answer wheel tonight is yes. Yes. Whatever it is that you're confronted with, whatever you're finding to be trying, the answer is yes. Yes. Yes to that. What are you going to do with that yes? What you need to do is to get up and to begin to move in concert with that idea, that plan, that thought. That's what we need to do when we get a yes. It's not something that we're supposed to sit around on. It's something that we're supposed to get up and move with. So whatever it is that you're being troubled with, and if you can believe, some people say, well, what if you spend this thing and then well, there's a lot of things that may be ridiculous or nonsensical to some people that you believe in, every one of us. And so, that everything's not meant for everyone, but at the same token, if we choose to place our faith where we choose to place our faith, no one can question anything that we do. So here is an opportunity through the answer wheel for you to get an answer to your particular situation. Well, what if it's the wrong answer? All I can say is if you use your faith and believe, then it won't be. And if you believe that it could possibly be, then that's not faith. That's wavering. But if you believe and you do, and you grasp and believe what is being presented, then it'll work out. It will work out. So the answer will say tonight, yes to you. Yes to whatever it is that you're looking at, whatever you're being presented with, whatever you're being faced with. Well, here we go again, right? I need your help. As usual, I need your help. Would you please, right now, take the time to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell? Would you do that for me right now? I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you for doing that. Now, I said I was going to be putting in the, I did say I was going to be putting in the ticker. And there you go, the ticker, okay? And with the ticker, you see the email, you see the website, and you see the channel email and my personal email, okay? So you can reach out and talk to me. I would love it. I would love it. I would love to exchange with you, because what is more important than anything is relationship. What we've got to understand is that's what life is about. Life is about relationship. And for us to have relationship, we've got to communicate. So I'm opening myself up, and I hope that you would do the same. We don't have to agree on everything. Nobody does. Relationship isn't about What relationship is about acceptance, accepting people for who they are and where they are. And I do that, even though I may not agree. It doesn't mean that I have to hold back my tongue, nor do you. But can we accept and respect one another? Can we agree to disagree if need be, and still be sociable, right? And still have a meaningful relationship because we can learn from one another. To think that we've got it all is a symbol of arrogance that we ever could wear. We can receive from each and every one, even if it's to receive what not to do. Okay, so it's possible to learn from everyone, everyone. You know, I am excited for a number of reasons. I'm excited because this particular message that's going out is something that has to go out. But some folks are not going to like it because it's not culturally um, correct, politically correct, with what the culture is calling political correctness right now. But I believe in um, new concepts for old principles, new concepts for old principles. And so we're going to talk about new concepts, but they come from old principles. And these principles are timeless principles. That's what a principle is. A principle is timeless. It's outside of time. Principles create law. Science, principles are the principal thing. So if you live by principle, you'll never break a law. If you live by principles, you'll never break a law. Why? Because all laws come from principles. Laws. Now, what we call laws are can be civil laws, right? Civil law is not necessarily law. It is man's law, but it is not universal law. When universal law comes from principle, if you live by principle, then universal law will have you have no problem. So when you hear civil laws that seem to be unfair, if you're living by universal law or by principle, you will always supersede those civil laws, right? Yeah. I'm going through some changes. My ears are popping and everything, and I I am really going through some changes, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I thought things were getting back to the way they're supposed to be, but hey, it takes what it takes. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. But yet, at the same time, I believe that healing is my bread. I eat of it on a daily basis. Okay, so let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk about settling the issue of gender and sex. Now, we talked about it in our last broadcast, part one, and I'm just going to just, I'm not going to go in depth because you can do that by going to the broadcast and grasping that. But I want to just share what I did from a global perspective. What I did was I showed the order of human sexual designation, the cycle of human sexual designation, and in that cycle there is a specific order, and that order that we spoke about in depth is masculine. Well, actually, it's first essence, then it's masculine and feminine. After that is femininity and masculinity, then it's sex, and then it's gender. And we broke those things down. You want to go back and look and get our definition and how they function and how they operate in this particular cycle or order, however you want to use it. But I need to say, first of all, that masculine and feminine are not sexual designations. They're not sexual designations. What masculine and feminine is functional and operational order. Okay, and we talked about that as well. You can go back and get a little bit more from that. But then we begin to talk about the whole idea of once masculine and feminine enters into the sphere, which we call the heavenlies, right? Once it enters into this sphere is operated and functions under scientific method or science or formula, right? Everything, whether we know the combinations or not, and whether we come upon them consciously or unconsciously, intentionally or unintentionally, they will work. And the things because and we say, well, how did he or how did she get that? How did that? And it's because of the combination. They figured out the combination, and so the combination will work for anyone. It doesn't uh, differentiate, segregate, or discriminate. It will always work for those who implement the formula, who implement the scientific method, right? So it becomes important for us to understand that when we this sphere that we live in, the biblical narrative talks about there is a uh, a a sphere that is the waters from above from the waters below. You want to understand what that means? Come on over to the Purpose Sphere channel. We're going to be talking about that this weekend. Okay, so when we start talking about the the operate the masculine and feminine coming into this sphere, it has to come in line with scientific method. Masculine becomes masculinity. Masculinity operates and functions by science, by formula, just as femininity does. Femininity comes into this sphere from feminine. Feminine comes and becomes femininity. And as just like masculine, it operates by formula. Okay. So femininity and masculinity are scientific methodologies for masculine and feminine, right? That's important. That's important stuff. Okay, and then we talked about, we defined the differences between masculinity and femininity. Did that last time we were together. Then we talked about sex, because sex comes and is determined by the assignment of femininity or masculinity. Sex comes as a result of, not the other way around. So there's in how I believe and think is that there's binary. Everything's binary. Everything hot, cold, right? Binary. Right, wrong, yes, no. Everything operates binary. Even the computer operates binary, right? Yin and yang, binary. See, this the idea of binary. Why is binary? The number two is an important number. See, if you ask, some people say, "Oh, that's the devil." No. Studying numbers is studying numbers, and numbers is a means of gaining information. Because what functions in this sphere is statistics, information, data, and so or data, right? Or information. Numbers as information. Numbers data. Okay, numbers is information, and so the number two actually means unity. So understand that two, the number two, or binary, which is two, binary. Binary, the bi means two, represents unity. Unity causes things to act and operate and affect with one another. With binary, it is a equilibrium able to be uh, to arrive at. We can arrive at equilibrium and balance, binary, like a seesaw, right? So when we start talking about sex, right? If you're masculine, if masculinity was a sign, then you're a boy. If femininity is your sign, you came here as a girl. Understand is the suit that you have on, your design reflects, is a type and shadow of that particular assignment of masculinity or femininity. In other words, the suit that you have on represents what you were sent here. Now that's important to understand because some people are trying to change energy. You can't do it. I don't care what you do, you'll never be able to totally change because what you are and what you've been assigned has not come from you, has not come from your bishop, your pastor, your social group, uh, or anybody else. It's come from the Creator who sent you. Oh yes, you're not an accident. No, you're not an accident. You're an intentional idea, well thought out, from the alpha to omega, from soup to nuts. You are designed. Now, what we've got to do is learn how to find that design and understand and embrace that design. Many don't. Many don't embrace the design. But even though you don't choose to accept that design, doesn't negate that that's your design. No matter what you do to yourself, you will not change the design. If the maker of Toyota make a Camry, put a Camry on the market, no matter what you do to that Camry, it's still a Camry. You can make it look like a Mercedes-Benz, you can make it look like a BMW or whatever else you want, you choose, but it's not. It's still a Toyota, right? It's still a Camry. No matter what you do, no matter what equipment changes you make, you still are designed by the Creator. Okay? All right. So it's important that we understand that. Now, we begin to talk about gender. But what I want to do is I want to take a commercial break. We're going to come right back and we're going to pick up with gender. Be right back.
In our current global climate, we're facing challenges never before experienced by this generation. Oppositions where no one seems to have clear directions or answers to the risks facing us. Confrontations like racial and gender unrest, political gerrymandering, toxic leadership, economic crisis, global pandemic, health threats, pre-existing medical conditions, isolation, boredom, and loneliness are driving people to desperation. As a result, people are confused, afraid, anxious, and perplexed, and they need answers to some tough questions and even tougher situations. They are looking into different outlets for answers to gain assurance and consolation. Some have drawn closer to the embrace of family, while others look more towards their friendships, education, and even religion. What we need is a fresh voice of truth and clarity, and not a stale religious echo from the past. there's a re-emerging voice on the horizon that isn't afraid to stand alone and give spiritual and mentally sound direction to a world searching for answers. G. Alfred Palmer offers a voice of sound human development and empowerment to those willing to hear. There's a need for new ideas to old principles, a perspective from a timeless origin, but with current vision, a thought leader who understands what it means to stand alone and speak truth when some are hard of hearing. But if you've been waiting to hear a voice that opens the gates of freedom and breaks the shackles of confusion to allow you to step forward into the dawning of a new and exciting future, then it's time to bridge the gap with Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. He is a dynamic speaker, thought leader, and entrepreneur, equipped to elevate, expand, and extend the development, empowerment, and leadership of his audiences. He stands ready to speak at your next event. His delivery is guaranteed to refresh, entertain, and transform. G. Alfred Palmer bridges the gap from uncertainty to the purpose, to passion, and leadership. Book him today for your next event, and you won't be disappointed.
And we're back. And we're back. I would love to be to develop a relationship with you, not just come in and speak, but just to iron sharpens iron, you know. And the way that you get sharper is to rub up against other people, and maybe people that you don't agree with. It's really interesting how people don't understand the difference between an argument, a discussion, and debate. They don't. If you disagree, oh, then you're arguing. Um, excuse me. Many don't know how to have a conversation, and the conversation doesn't have to be one that's going to go your way, or my way. It's just a matter of us being able to discuss our position, and to maybe educate, help each other, and that's what it's about. But anyway, let's move on. We were talking about the importance of the foundation that we laid in our last. And I left off at talking about what gender is. Gender is one's individual view of value and vision of themselves, mentally, and materially. Okay, and what we do is the way we think about it. It's about how we think about ourselves, and the way we think about ourselves is what you'll see about us, how we dress, how we act, our mannerisms, gestures, things of that nature. But what we have to understand is that there's some gender appropriation that takes place. There's a gender appropriation, just like there's cultural appropriation, and what that is when people begin to accommodate some of the traits, because that's the next thing. Traits are those things that people that aren't of us or gender appropriate trait-wise from the more appealing or attractive to them gender or culture. Okay. Now, how do they do that? Well, they do that through observation. They do that through their mentality, through rehearsal, practice, and through being influenced by. Okay. So it's important that we understand that. Now, if you want to understand some more things about that, you go to the broadcast that we did last time. And along with that, we talk about some of the observational indicators of a person that's appropriating, gender appropriating, or gender appropriation. So I'm not going to go into that, but you can go to the other broadcast. And then we also talked about how males accommodate feminine traits, or I should say males accommodate female traits, and how females accommodate male traits, that we talked about on our last broadcast. And a major the next thing is a major cause for why we have gender role confusion. Gender role confusion, very important. Why? That's on the last video. Very, very important. And then lastly, before we switch gears and go in depth, we talked about also the major how the results, the cause and then the results of gender appropriation. Okay, the cause and then the results. Now, so what we want to talk about this evening, real briefly, and not going to be before you real long, is how do we make that change? If we find out that we have ourselves or loved ones interested in getting in line with what the universe has assigned to us, how do we do that? How do we do that? Because what we have happening now is we have people that are making permanent decisions for situations that are not permanent. So, and it becomes important that you and I and our loved ones understand that as long as we're here, there's an opportunity to grow, to extend, to expand, to elevate, and to excavate. It's always continually learning to change, because what change is repentance. The word in repentance actually means, in the Latin, it means to change your mind. To change your mind, or to change the way you think. It's nothing wrong with doing that. And I'm not talking about a religious notion. I'm talking about a notion that changes your life. You can change your life by making a quality decision. And the way you make a quality decision is by using the tools that are available. And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so how does let's say a male, because there's a difference between a boy, a male, and a man. Okay. Normally, what happens is a boy does not gender appropriate. They don't. They don't know the difference. It's not about gender. It's not about gender. It's about feeling, and because they don't understand how operating by feelings, the pros and cons of it. They need to be taught. They need to be disciplined. They need to be guided. And who is the first teacher? Parents. And who is the greatest first teacher? The parent that has on the same suit as the child. Okay. Because the child can take on the mannerisms, the mentality, the mechanisms of that said parent. And it becomes important, very, very important. Okay? So how does that happen? Now, if you didn't get that because your father wasn't in the home, or you didn't get the proper feminine or femininity uploads because your mother was not an appropriate example, for whatever reason. Maybe because your father wasn't there. Maybe because she had a whole lot on her. Maybe because she identified with something with the other gender. Maybe that she has some unresolved issues that caused her and drove her to a particular place where she is. So it's not to blame anyone. It's just to say the importance of development. Masculine and feminine development is critical. And because what they fail to do if they're not appropriately developed is that dysfunction will be perpetuated in the children, right? But let's say you didn't have that father or that parent. This is parent, and stop using men, because there's a lot of men who are single parents. We don't talk about that, but there are a lot. There are many who are single parents, and the statistics actually shows that success rate among single parent fathers is better than with single parent mothers. Some people may not like that idea, but that's the statistic. information data. Some people will say, well, where would I find that? If I have to tell you where you can find it, it means that the data that even if I show you, you're not going to believe it. So you don't believe what I'm saying. You need to be proven. If you hear it and it rings true with you, you don't need to go check this, that, or the other, because it rings true with you. But some people, even if you show them data, statistics, they still won't believe. They'll find a reason not to believe. So that's why I don't even waste my time. Okay, so how does a male, let's say a male who hasn't had a father in the home, or had a mother in the home that was, well, let's turn it around. He had a mother in the home, but no father. And because he had no father, he wasn't able to glean the proper masculine uploads necessary, because no matter what your mother does, she's still not masculine. She cannot teach you and upload masculine, because she's not. The only one that can upload masculine is masculine. Excuse me. The only one that can upload masculinity is masculinity. Right? Only one that can upload femininity is femininity. It doesn't cross. It's a continuum, a likeness continuum. So, if a male, it's easier for me to do it this way because it aligns with me. If a male who doesn't have a father, and lives in a home with a mother who, no matter how hard she tries, is not masculine, what's going to eventually happen is that male it's undeniable, will glean some of those traits. You can't upload femininity because it won't upload. But what you will see is traits. And the traits, we talked about it before, is something that's acted out, rehearsed, and that's why you see it exaggerated. It's not real, so it's not what it's supposed to be, but it's an exaggeration of the real. The real is always more in concert with nature. But that which is not is normally exaggerated one way or another. It's either too much or not enough. Does that make sense? So how does a male become indoctrinated with his masculinity again, if he has not over the years? Well, the first thing he needs is to find proper role models. Now, it's important to understand, when you talk about a male, there are several types of males. There's a beta male, right? There is a delta male, and there's an alpha male. All are still males, and they're still not men. What you need to have is a proper role model who is a man, not a male. How do you identify a man? It's easy. He functions differently than males. He functions with more authority. He functions and operates more in concert with the universe. He understands purpose. He operates and functions in purpose, and is able to show others how to find purpose. That is a proper role model. Hi there. So, the next thing is mentorship. If you go to my website, or I have a Facebook page. that is our mentorship program. We on our website we have a mentorship program, and the mentorship program is designed for you to uh, get what you need in the 8 core functions that we've talked about, right? The 8 core functions of masculine and feminine development, the stages, right? We've talked about that. There's other videos on that, okay? So how else does a male begin to make that transformation? Well, through sports, through interaction with male or masculine or masculinity type of activities. When he involves himself in masculinity type environments and activities, that it iron sharpens iron. They begin to sharpen, and it begins to transform their thinking and cause them to change their minds. They begin to get what they did not get from that same parent that should have uploaded to them when they were yet a boy. There are also other educational programs. There's even universities and colleges. I know of one. I can't think of which exactly one it is, but I know that the gentleman, the doctor that teaches a course on black malehood is. I'll get it for you and put it in the whatever. I'll list it below for you, so you can contact him if you would like to gain a better understanding of modern day masculinity. And I put this one down, but you know it is questionable because of what we see with some of these fraternities. Some are masculine, some are not. So it behooves you to be selective in the fraternity that you choose. Personally, I have chosen no fraternity. I did play for one in high school, but I never pledged one. But I mean, that is an opportunity for some to learn. But you have to be careful because many of these fraternities are not there's not masculinity in them. There's a toxic masculinity in them. There is a malehood mentality in them and not a manhood mentality. So you have to be careful, but that is another option as well. Okay? Now, it's pretty much the same thing for females to gain their femininity. Now, one of the things I have seen, especially on Facebook, excuse me, YouTube, there are some channels that really focus in on uh, mentoring and helping women, well, not women because women have already arrived, to help females to matriculate into womanhood. Again, I'll put some of that information um, below as well. So, you know, as and like the fraternities, sororities play the same role for the female, but some of these uh, are very very suspicious. Um, they're feminist, and they promote feminism, and they don't promote femininity. There's a difference between femininity and feminism. So you know, and that's important to understand and to know. And what that does, just like it's important to understand there's a difference between being a man and a male, whether that is a alpha, beta, delta, or whatever. So those are so we have to be conscious of how to select those. We can help you with that as you become a part of our mentoring program, or as you become not only a part of our mentoring program, but maybe you become a part of our role model through our role modeling institute and through our mentorship program as well. So those are things that you can do to help make the change that's necessary. Why is the change necessary? Because what we're seeing now in our community, culture, and clan is troubling. It's troubling. It is seriously troubling. We're seeing, we're seeing our boys begin to cross dress to you name it. I've seen, you've seen it. I don't have to go into it. I don't want to put anybody on blast, but I want to say it's troubling. It's troubling because this culture is now trying to eliminate masculinity. You cannot do it. We will not allow it to happen. Why? Because masculinity is equal but not the same to femininity. Equal but not the same. Equal means equal in importance, equal in degree, right? Equal in need, equal in need for result. So, masculinity will never go away. Never go away. So what we have to do is to understand what true masculinity is and show our boys and our males, men, what true masculinity, not true, because true is trying to say that there's another masculinity and there isn't. But we need to show them what masculinity looks like, because that's not masculinity. Boyhood and malehood do not operate. Well, they operate in masculinity, but it is a lesser developed form of masculinity. Men operate at the highest level of masculinity because they understand and have gone through the other processes, good, bad, and indifferent. But they've developed, right, through the other stages of boyhood and malehood. Okay, so it's important. And so the same thing with females. Females have to gain proper tutelage from proper examples of femininity, because what we're seeing in our community, culture, and clan are masculine females who sound, talk like men or males, not even men. They talk like males. And males will accept them as being equal as them, same as them. But it's not. You're not the same. You're not the same. You have to embrace your uniqueness, and you have to respect that of the other. You have to embrace your uniqueness, masculinity, right? And respect her femininity. Some people think that I'm very hard on females, and it has to be that way because that's the only way they learn. And even then, it's difficult. I see some of the social media stations, channels I just watch, and it's ridiculous. I, you understand, you've seen it yourself. So anyway, that's our show for tonight. Again, I would very much appreciate if you would subscribe, like, and share, and hit the notification bell on this channel. And listen, go. You see our website and our email address being tickered underneath the page. So if you have questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to email us at that Gmail account. I'd love to hear from you, and hopefully we can get together and we can do some things together, even if it's just to talk. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. So until the next time, power, peace, and purpose.
you.